And now, our exciting next performance comes from
the Cow Footprints himself.
And so all you African people out there, open your eyes and pay attention. Open your ears and listen very well. Open your eye, open your eye, oh, open your eye, oh, look at man. And so I want us to travel on a journey. I want us to travel all the way into the heart of Africa. I want us to travel all the way to West Africa. And no other place I want us to travel to but into the beautiful country of Ghana. I want us to go all the way to see, to visit, to pay respect to the wonderful Ashanti Kingdom. But not just the Ashanti Kingdom, to the Asante Hene. Open your eye, open your eye, oh, open your eye, oh, look at man. But before we embark on this journey, we must first of all learn. In Ghana, when they say Etisen, we all say Eye. I say Etisen, and they say Eye. Open your eye, open your eye, oh, open your eye, look at man. I myself, who's taking you on this journey, I am the Cow Footprints. And so I want to take you on this journey to see the Asante Hene. And the Asante Hene has a little bit of a problem that you and I must go and help him solve. And on this journey, we must fly on something very special. We are going to fly on my royal granite kanda peanut shell. Oh, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how can we fly on a peanut shell? How is that possible? I mean, Cow Footprints, what is the matter with you? How can we fly on a peanut shell? Well, let me ask you a question. In Harry Potter, what do they fly on? Yes, you get it right. A broomstick. A broomstick. Aladdin in Arabia, what do they fly on? A carpet. Yes, you call it a magic carpet. All right, let me ask you further. Dumbo the elephant, what does he fly with? Yes, his ears, all right? His ears. But let me take you even further. Christmas time. What does Santa fly with? Yes, he flies on a sleigh with 6 donkeys, right? Yeah, I know you call it a reindeer. I call it a donkey. Okay, he flies with that. But now, let me tell you, if Santa can fly on a sleigh and then Harry Potter on a broomstick, Dumbo with his ears in Arabia, they fly on a carpet. Well, in Africa, we fly on my royal granite kanda peanut shell. Open you yaide, open you yaide. And you see, you are going to help me to put the fuel in this royal granite kanda. You see, in Africa, we strongly believe in biodiversity, biodegradability. And so we are going to fly with fuel that will not pollute the environment. In case you're thinking, what are you talking about? Well, how many years has our African people lived without polluting the forest, without cutting down all the trees? How many years? Thousands of years. And all the fish flourish, the water clean, the forest flourishing, the environment healthy, the air fresh. And so we're going to fly like this. Ding kaima ding, ding kaima ding, ding kaima ding, ding kai. Now go with it go so, now go with it go so, now go with it go so. Ding kaima ding, ding kaima ding, ding kaima. Now let me get everybody out there. Everybody out there. This is what you say with me. Let's go like this. Ding kaima ding. Let me hear you. Ding kaima ding. Ding kaima ding. Ding kai. Now go with it go so. Now go with it go so. Now go with it go so. Ding kaima ding. Ding kai. Now go with it go so. Ding kaima ding. Ding kaima ding. Ding kaima ding. Ding kaima ding. Ding kaima. And now we're entering into Ghana. And as we land into Ghana, remember, the first thing we say is Etisei, yeah. And as we settle down, we realize the first problem the Asante Hene has. His first problem is because the Asante Hene is cladded with gold. I mean gold. Rich, heavy gold. But there were some guys who came all the way from England and they wanted his gold. But on top of that, not just wanting the gold, they want something else that is even bigger than the gold. And in Ghana, they call it the golden stool. They wanted the golden stool. Hey! They say, hey, know what I'm saying? Go have that golden stool, mate, you know what I mean? And the Asante Hene says, no, it will not happen, not over me. This golden stool is sacred to our people. And there started a war. I mean, they fought, and the Asante Hene, instead of giving up the golden stool, he gave up himself. He surrendered himself, and he was exiled all the way to the Seychelles Islands. But you think the war was over? Oh no, oh no, oh no. It's not over yet, because then rose up the most wonderful woman, the most powerful, strong, brave woman, and she is called Ya Asantewaa. And Ya Asantewaa stood up and says, this war is not over. We are going to fight to preserve our own integrity. We will preserve our self-proclamation. We will preserve our own. You can find the words and add it all there. But Ya Asantewaa stood up. And she fought, and eventually she also was captured and again exiled to the Seychelles Islands. But the British, the English never laid their fingers on the golden stool. It was kept in Ghana. Well, you may think the king's problem is now solved. Oh no. Oh no. The king had another problem, because this time the king, he had a beautiful princess. She was beautiful. She was so beautiful. Her eyes, her eyes, her eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair falls perfectly without her trying. Oh, she's so beautiful. She was so gorgeous. I mean, everybody wanted to marry this beautiful princess. But she had a problem. She can't dance. How can you have a princess in Africa that cannot dance? I mean, this is just not going to work. How can you have a princess and she cannot dance? And so the king was thinking, hey, what do I do now? What do I do? And what do I do? How can I? And so the king put out a proclamation, put out a word, and says anybody who can play the best music for my princess to dance would be the one to marry my beautiful Princess Amma. Hey! I mean, it did not take long for word to spread everywhere about the beautiful Princess Amma, who can play the best music. I mean, they came from all over to play music, but it did not take long before people realized, hey, wait a minute. There is only one who can play the best music of all time. He, in fact, has a #1 hit single. And this wonderful one is none other than the one and only Pre-KWanzaa. Pre-KWanzaa. He had his #1 hit single. I mean, wherever he went, he would sing his #1 hit single. Tamadufa, 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 tamadufa. Tamadufa, tamadufa, pum pum, tamadufa, tamadufa, pum pum, pum pum, pum pum, tamadufa, tamadufa. I mean, Pre-KWanzaa, he traveled to Jamaica and he went, tamadufa, 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 tamadufa. He traveled all the way to China, tamadufa, 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 and he traveled all the way to Germany, tamadufa, tamadufa. He traveled all the way to Spain, tamadufa, 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 tamadufa. He traveled all the way to Alaska, tamadufa, tamadufa, tamadufa. Wherever he went, he played. He was just passing by the Ashanti kingdom when he heard about the beautiful Princess Amma, and he thought, hey, Wagwa Rasta. Me just heard that there is a beautiful princess just around the corner. You know what I mean? Cha! And Pre-KWanzaa, he swaggered down to the Asante Henne's palace. Wagwan brethren. And the Asante Henne says, you don't address me as brethren. Wagwan chief. What do you mean you're addressing me as a chief? I am the Asante Henne. Whatever. The great Asante Henne. He says, I am here for the princess. He says, really? He says, yes. He says, who are you? He says, duh. The king don't know who I am, the one and only Asante. I mean, the one and only, Pre-KWanzaa, the spider with the #1 hit single. What's this Asante Henne's problem? And the Asante Henne, can you play music? He says, of course. He says, well, let us hear your music. Pre-KWanzaa, he started. Tamadufa, 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 Tamaduva, tamaduva, boom, 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 boom. Tamaduva, 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 boom, 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 boom. And by the time you know it, I mean, everybody in the whole village, they came together. They had never heard such a #1 hit single. They came together to dance. They came together, but as Princess Amma was about to get up to dance, out of the ocean came Mr. Prawn. Yes, Mr. Prawn. He came from the ocean. He says, King, I am also here to marry the beautiful Princess Amma. I can also play music. Pre-KWanzaa got upset. What? What is this? Who do you think you are? Look at your mouth. Look at your mouth. It's scattered all over the whole place. Who do you think you are? Look at your hands all scattered. Who do you think you are? Please, you know what? Just leave us alone and get out of here right now. You cannot play a single music. Your hands are scattered. Your mouth is scattered. Do you think you can kiss a princess? Do you think you can kiss a princess with that mouth of yours? But Mr. Prawn says, I am also here to play music. And the king, being fair enough, he says, all right, well then, I will then establish a competition in a week's time. Well, they went away. Pre-KWanzaa was a celebrity with his #1 hit single. He was invited to Britain's Got Talent. He was invited to Ghana Big Sister House. He was invited to Ghana Big Brother House. He was invited to I Am a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. He was invited to all of these places. Wherever he went, he was a #1 hit single celebrity. Mr. Prawn. He traveled all the way to Senegal. And in Senegal, he learned to play the tama. Timana, 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 timana. He learned to play the tama. He traveled all the way to of course, around the Ghana kingdom, and he learned to play the fontonfron. And he traveled all the way to Nigeria. In Nigeria, he learned to play the batadrum. He left there, and he traveled all the way to Guinea, and he learned to play the djembe. He left there, he traveled all the way to Casamance, and he learned to play the bukarabu. And as he traveled everywhere, he learned all these different musical instruments until the day came for the competition. When the day came for the competition, everybody was gathered. I mean, everybody was gathered. They called for Pre-KWanzaa. He came. Mr. Prawn was nowhere to be seen because Mr. Prawn, he was stuck somewhere because of COVID-19. He was locked down. And so Pre-KWanzaa is thinking, I told you people, I told you all not to waste my time. As you can see, you have just wasted a week of my honeymoon. Now I am here. Let me just carry on. And Mr. Pre-KWanzaa, he started. Tamadufa, 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 tamadufa. And as he sang, everybody came together. Everybody gathered, and they were dancing. They were singing. And the princess was about to get up. And as the princess was about to get up, from far they heard, Musa! Musa! Suhu! Suhuwe! Wuhuwe! Tuhuwe! 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 Tuhupuhuwe! 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 Wuhuza! It was Mr. Prawn. He was playing his Fulani flute. Tuhuwa puhuwa tu, puhuwa tuhuwa puhuwa tu, puhuwa tuhuwa puhuwa tu, puhuwa tuhuwa puhuwa tu, puhuwa 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 tuhuwa puhuwa tu, puhuwa tuhuwa puhuwa tu, puhuwa. And as he played, everybody, they'd never heard a Fulani instrument before. And as Mr. Prawn came, Choa! Dingy dingy my famous salumbe, musayo salumbe. Dingy dingy my famous salumbe, musayo salumbe. Tuhuwe tu, salumbe, musayo salumbe, padam padam pam pam, salumbe, musayo salumbe, din din din, salumbe, musayo salumbe, din 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 my fame, salumbe, musayo salumbe, salumbe, musayo salumbe, din 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 my fame, salumbe, musayo salumbe, padam padam pam pam, salumbe, musayo salumbe, salumbe, musayo salumbe, padam padam pam pam, salumbe, musayo salumbe, sweet salumbe, musayo salumbe. Everybody gathered behind Mr. Prawn. To cut a long story short, it was the biggest wedding you ever saw. Mr. Prawn married the beautiful Princess Amma. And you may wonder, how come Mr. Prawn married the beautiful Princess Amma? It's like this. As African people, if we follow just one narrative and think that it's only our tribe that is most important, or only our one country that is more important than the rest, we will never make it. But if we can understand to take the diversity that is Africa, from the Zulus to the Limbas to the Ashantis to the Ndebeles to the Shonas, if we can draw on the strength of this diversity, we will beat every single adversity. You see, they say Africa has tribalism. I say Africa has diversity. With this diversity, we definitely can achieve peace and love. With that, I end my story to travel back. Ding kaima ding, 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 ding kaima ding. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Open your eye. Open your eye. We do love our Usifu Jalloh.
Usifu Jalloh,
He's
man.
such a good storyteller.
It's amazing.
Like, when he was talking about so when he was talking about the prawn and his face was scattered over here and over here, I was like, this is too much description for me. I could see it, I can visualize. He's such a good storyteller. You know, it's so important that we have griots at this time.
Well, he'd say he's not a griot.
But I know, but he is.
He'd say he's a storyteller.
He is. He tells history, he tells our history through his stories, and puts the banter in there so it can communicate with all people, all around the globe. Excellent. Brilliant human being.
Welcome back to Blacktricity and Beyond the Return. Here with GKTV, our Pre-KWanzaa Showcase. We've got so much more to come your way. I'm your Act Doctor, alongside our international storyteller who just gave an absolutely fabulous performance. Usifu Jalloh, how are you doing, sir? I love what you do. It's just so captivating, you know. And as we're explaining to our audience, international as always and in demand. Yeah.
Yes.
Every time we seem to see you on social media, you're somewhere telling a story. How many countries have you visited in the last couple of years?
Oh my, quite a bit. I don't even remember the numbers. At least maybe about 10 countries, you know. But just touring around, going to many different schools particularly, and educating people about Africa. Really, that is the main thing. Storytelling is about that. telling a different narrative, giving a narrative to inspire, to educate, and of course to entertain as well, because that is the kind of package that is Africa. We don't just we don't just entertain. It's a package of education and motivation as well. So I'm doing all of that around the world, sharing stories about Africa that many people would not necessarily think about, and giving people an African lens to look at Africa.
I love the way you say African lens, because very much the style of storytelling that you do is a traditional style, which is a dying art. Yeah, and it's something very much you're at the forefront of keeping alive, right?
Yes, very much, especially the oral part of it, the oral side of the storytelling. It is incredibly important that that is kept and maintained. Just about a month ago, I was asked by the minister in my country, who's the Minister of Culture, to enter a competition It is for an organization based in Niger, and they were collating stories, oral stories from across Africa that they want to archive. Now, but what they wanted me to do was to write my own story, both in English and in my native language, which for me I thought beats the whole purpose. If it's oral storytelling, then go around and collect the oral storytelling from people and archive that. So, because the storytelling for us is not only about just what is written down. How can you say, kusang bogoro pasina nebla basina basina nebla basina nebla kusang bogoro pasina nebla. How can you write that down? How do you write that down? You see? So if it's oral, it's oral. And we have to maintain this. And if anything I am pushing more on, it's about oral. And so many editors are on my case to write these stories down. Not because I don't want to write them down, but I know when you write them down, African stories have tones and vibrations that they carry, which are just as important as the words that are being said. And all of this is important in carrying our spirit in it. It's not just about, here is a story and go. If that is what African storytelling is about, then there is no point. But the African way, the African lens is about holistic stuff. So it's your spirit, it's your energy as much as it's your syllables.
So now, when we're looking at everything that's taken place this year, and your traveling has ceased a little bit, I know you're heavily involved with trying to, for want of a better word, help with the diaspora upgrade in Sierra Leone.
Very, very important.
This is where you're from, right?
Well, yes, Sierra Leone, of course, that's where I'm from. What's important is this. You can water the leaves all you like. If you don't water the roots, that plant will die. The roots is in Africa. It's in the young people that are there. Those of us in the diaspora, we're the flowers. We're the leaves and branches.
That's a great way of putting it.
We do have to understand that the vitality we have is coming from the roots. The roots is working hard to keep us. If we do not feed back to it, eventually we are going to end up being grafted. And many of us are grafted in this Western society that we're living in. So because we're grafted, we're not seeing the tree, if you like, or we're not seeing the world from our own standpoint.
Yes.
So where we're at is that we're standing on the Western standpoint to view the world. We have our standpoint as much as
we have an African it's as if it's what the great late Baba Hugh Masekela said. Yes. We have become so westernized, we've become poor versions of Europeans as Africans, as black people. Well, we're not saying that the West doesn't have anything to offer, yeah, but know thyself, don't lose yourself.
It's that
this is the same thing, right?
That's very, very tragic. It's very tragic because when you're not being yourself, if there is a sin It is the sin of not knowing yourself and not being yourself. If you're a size 9, what are you doing wearing a size 15? It means you're paying surplus. If you're wearing a size 6, it means you're suffering and you're struggling. That's the position that we're in when we do not know ourselves. We don't know our size. If we're not viewing the world from our standpoint, it means we will never give a right definition and will not understand the value we add in to the world. So standing from the European Western point of view or Chinese point of view or whichever point of view that may come to us and looking from that, the craziest thing about that is what? Not only are we standing and looking at the world from those other standpoints, they've even given us lenses that is not suited to our eyes. So we're not only not seeing the world, but we're not even seeing the world clearly because we're not using even the right lenses, added to the fact that we're not standing in the right place. But when we stand on our own ground, using our lens, we see the world in a much, much more different place.
As you said, Usifu, that is really, really important, especially now, because not only if we don't learn to look at it and give our standpoint and viewpoint, we're always going to be, as you said, the European or the Chinese, and we can never be the head of that. We can only be the head of not the black standpoint, the African standpoint, right?
It is that simple. What you value, you will protect and defend. What you don't value, you will destroy. What you fear, you will eventually destroy. Now, if the narrative that has been created for us that we are standing on, which is the Western narrative, if that narrative is one that tells Africa that Africa is barbaric, it is poor, it is this, if we stand on that narrative, how then can we protect that which we hate? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So because we hate that, we will not protect it. And it therefore has no value. We'll see it as having no value. From our masquerades that we have, our spiritualities that we have, our medicines that we have, the leaves, the herbs, the land, the fish, the diamonds, the golds, the humanities, the young people that we have, all of them have been portrayed from a different standpoint that says our masquerades are evil, our young people are poor, they're running away, our leaders are corrupt, our land is this. Everything has been told to us in this way. So then that's because we're standing from another standpoint. Let us stand from the African standpoint and actually see, is this land really that bad? Is my mango that bad? Are the youths really that bad? Is my family that corrupt? Is it really so? We got to look at that. If it is so, then we are the only ones who can do something about it.
Change the narrative of what's happening.
Absolutely. So whether it is good or bad, just leave it to us. We will deal with it. After all, in Europe, every single day there is a narrative of the Second World War and Hitler and the Jews on television.
Remembrance, etc. Yes.
Absolutely. So, hey, guess what?
We've got a narrative as well, the Ma'afa, the Holocaust, and we should not be ashamed or feel any way to bring it to the fore.
Precisely, we should never be. We should never be. We should be able to confront it. And that's the only way we will be able to address it so that our children will learn, never do this again. Just like in Rwanda, the case of Rwanda, never go into that kind of...
and not to be afraid as well to make demands from the West for things like Rwanda, for things like our Ma'afa, for things, because let's be real here, as you say, our mango, our gold, our diamonds is the reason why we find ourselves in this position.
If I tell you, our reason for living and coming, because narratives have changed, but our reason for coming is because we're looking for the basic comfort, water, education, food, and all this, and basic stuff. So we're all running over here, and we bought into that lie that if you come here, you'll find it all. Okay, great. But what we're forgetting is this, that where we are, we live in fertile soil, predictable weather. So everything is right there. But if you don't have the right lens to look at it, you'll never see it right. You know, our people say, why go and look for it in Sokoto when it's in your Shokoto?
That's well said. That's a great place to end it. Thank you so much for coming to join us here on BLACKTRICITY and the Pre-KWanzaa Showcase. As we says, a lot more of you on Got Kush TV in 2021. Yes, you'll join us.
Absolutely, 2021 is going to be a fabulous year, and I just want to invite more people to come along to what I'm doing in Sierra Leone with Mambina Fest. It's a big festival to begin to encourage us to go back and look again at our heritage, our cultural heritage, at least in Sierra Leone. And I'm sure Africa is so wide and we have so much to offer. So it is there for people to come in. There is the National Storytelling Festival, which I do there as well. And my hope, my dream is gradually as the years progress, I want to bring more and more and more of us to go over there. Let us go and change the narrative.
Just do us a promise. Make sure you keep Got Kush TV involved, because we're here to support you, Usifu, in whatever you do. If we can large up the diaspora and get the same attention as Ghana has on Sierra Leone, on Liberia, on Nigeria, on the whole of Western, Southern and Eastern Africa, and once we've dealt with that, we'll look at the North. But primarily West, South, East Africa, the diaspora has to make that connection and that investment as well in order to fulfill everything that we're talking about. People just don't think, oh, this is two old guys with a grey beard just fantasizing.
No, I think my goodness, let's say I've got the land already, and the festival itself has been going on for the past 9 years. Yes, it's going on for 9 years now. So it is all established. It's not even as if I'm just going to go and start. It's there. So now it's going to the next phase now to begin to bring people along. I've laid the format down for people to be able to come. I want our young people to come and experience what it's like to become a man. Let our boys go over and experience our rites of passage for men. Why not? You understand? It's there.
We can mix the traditional with what they are familiar with, the Afro beats and the hip life and all of these things, the reggae music, all of these things can be included as well.
Well, young people will begin to find the source of where everything has come from.
That's it.
Right there. It's
yes.
right there. So yes, and having got Kush TV there to be a part of this because we need that diaspora exposure definitely. So it will be fabulous.
Excellent. You heard it right here with the amazing Usifu Jalloh, one of a kind, the traditional African storyteller that is international. Let them know where they can find Usifu on social media.
Social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's all the same. My website, www.usifujalloh.com. It's easy to find me.
And everyone who has a wedding or who has a party, you want a traditional African storyteller, you will get no better than this man. He's been with Got Kush from day one, so it's always a pleasure to have him amongst us, and we look forward to helping him grow the festivals in Sierra Leone and to get traditional storytelling passed on to future generations. You are with the UK's #1 conscious platform here on Got Kush TV. Keep it where you got it. We're at BLACKTRICITY, beyond the return. A lot more coming your way in our Pre-KWanzaa Showcase. Namaste.
Thank you, brother.